What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character, as we do every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we just generally give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Meehan. Shaun, how's it going?
Good, Connor. I've got that Friday feeling. And
oh, yes.
That feeling is... let's listen to a shit DC character, everyone.
I think the real question is, will Shaun remember to upload this episode on the Friday? We just don't know.
Look. I forgot to upload. I just completely spaced. I just forgot what day it was. And then
it got to about... I think it was like 11:30 here in Ireland on Friday. And I was like... normally my phone has a notification of, oh, Heroes for Hire is uploaded. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Never got that notification. I was like, maybe there's something wrong with my whatever podcast. Couldn't be Shaun. I assumed it couldn't be. Shaun wouldn't let me down.
Shaun would never
We call him No Let Down Shaun.
Right? That's what they call me.
That's what they call him. Mr. No Days Off is what he's otherwise known as. But then I assumed it was just up. And I go log on, Shaun. I'm like, okay, well, I'll go into my admin access, which, I mean, I can check to see, and no episode.
No episode.
Nothing there.
See, what had happened was, I fell asleep at 10 p.m.
Well, you should have uploaded at 9:30 then, really, when you think about it.
No. See, I'd fallen asleep at 10, Connor. But I was done by 7.
I'd logged off at 4:30.
Yeah, I start winding down around 2 p.m. these days, and I'm useless.
Shaun, this is Hero Zero. Hopefully we'll come out on a Friday as it's meant to do.
Probably will.
Just, you're on fucking tin ice by, right? So it is my week, so I normally do a DC character. You do Marvel characters. You pretend like you don't like DC, even though you've told me DC's way better than Marvel. It's so much better. I love Batman.
See, what he's done is he's incorporated a truth into some lies, because I don't hate DC characters, but I also
you love them.
I think they're fine. I think they're good. I think.
Would you say Batman is a bad character?
No, of course I wouldn't.
Well, then you love him. Oh, that's
he's a bad person.
Well, no, I never said anything about that. That's fair enough.
All those guns.
Funny you say that, Shaun, because this week I am doing one of my favourite topics of a Batman villain.
Buckle in.
Because I'm a big fan of DC. I like Marvel as well, but mostly Nightwing is my main guy, and within that world is Batman and everything to do with that. But what comes with that is a rogues gallery that is quite extensive, and that means quite good. I would say Batman's rogues gallery is the best, probably close enough to Spider-Man. Probably top. They're 1 and 2 interchangeable.
That's a fair thing to say, yeah.
Yeah. So what we have this week is a villain otherwise known as Doctor Strange, Shaun.
Now, Connor, you've gotten classic mistake. You've gotten confused there.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, you see, I've actually done the first Doctor Strange. This Doctor Strange came long before the other Doctor Strange. Yeah, the original Doctor Strange, the better one.
No, and he's not a medical doctor. He's a PhD, correct?
Dr. Hugo Strange, Shaun, a character that a lot of people might know just name-wise, but maybe haven't seen much of him, or probably hasn't got really much mention in terms of like mainstay. Go on.
I have my hand up.
You had your hand up in a visual platform, or not a visual, an audio platform, I should say.
It's visual for you, but he's also in the Arkham games.
He is indeed, Shaun.
I'm glad I put my hand up now.
Did you put your hand up just to tell me he's in the games?
I just wanted everyone to know that I knew.
It's the Friday feeling. You're trying to prove to me that you're
it's
smart.
Saturday as people are listening to this.
You're trying to prove to me after last week's fuck up that you're like, no, Connor, I know stuff. He's in the video games.
Keep me on the show.
Please. After 150 weeks. Please. So this character actually predates the Joker and predates Batman comics in general, because his first appearance was actually Detective Comics, number 36. So he is one of the originals. And how you know that is his creators, Shaun, are Bill Finger and Bob Kane, are Hugo Strange's creators.
Bill Finger created this character entirely on his own?
That is true, yes. So Bill Finger and Bob Kane also created Batman. Bob Kane, I'm not going to get into it, he went for like 70 years saying he did it all. Bill Finger did nothing. Then it all came out that Bill Finger, I would say, did like a lot of... It's one of those where I copy my homework, but don't make it obvious. Bill Finger did quite a bit. But they are the original creators of Batman, and they are also the creators of Hugo Strange. So they were still writing the comic book when he was created.
Okay, so this is like as close to the source as you can get.
Now, what I've done is I'm not going to cover his maybe first few years, because he was kind of seen as just a bit of... Like, he was a psychiatrist. He was just a very... I would not say boring character, but he was just kind of by the numbers. He turned up. Yeah,
a stereotype kind of mad scientist type dude.
Yeah, and so what I'm actually going to concentrate on is his first appearance after the Crisis of Infinite Earths in the 80s. And that was in September of 1990.
Man, I'm really glad we all survived that crisis in the 80s.
Would you stop? So, little is known about Professor Strange, other than that he was raised in an orphanage on the east side of Gotham, known as Hell's Crucible, and which is a... Go.
Is that not very similar to Hell's Kitchen in New York?
I mean, he came first, Shaun. So I think
he came before New York. You say
he came before New York. I'm gonna turn it back on you. I think you go. Is that not similar? I'm gonna say plagiarism on your end.
On my end, I've plagiarised things.
You're Stan Lee, yes, which is a dangerous section of the city that is not too far from Crime Alley. He's a gifted genius, and he put himself through medical school and became a professor of psychiatry. Psychiatry. That's the one. At Gotham University.
God, that sentence could have gone awry on you very quickly.
It's a long week, lad. It's Saturday. Come on now. Right? Yeah, it's the weekend. Let me live.
Let me have my peace.
However, his tenure was suspended after school board officials disapproved of Strange's radical ideas and theories about genetic manipulation. Strange had a personal interest in obtaining genetic perfection. And he...
Okay. No, it's just... I thought that would be beyond the scope of a psychiatrist myself.
So he's obsessed with gaining genetic perfection. Now, he is physically fit, but he lacks a tall stature, so he's kind of small, and he also went bald very early, and he also has to wear glasses. So, within that, he's obsessed with genetic perfection, but he himself can never achieve that in his own eyes. Because, of course, he has to wear the glasses. He's gone bald. He can't do anything about that. And he's just... I think he's like 5'4", 5'3" in the comic books. Whereas he's like, genetic perfection is a man, full head of hair, no glasses, 6'2", basically
hair,
Bruce Wayne.
Eyes.
No, basically Bruce Wayne is like...
Okay.
He's perfect
the best human.
And so his whole thing comes from the fact that he's actually not enough for his own idea of perfection.
Right. Okay, so he's... And during medical school, he was trying to test these things on people.
Yeah, he likes a bit of genetic engineering, Shaun. And so Strange needed subjects for experimentation and offered his expertise to an Indian man named Sanjay, whose brother was suffering from a severe illness after their parents died. In return for Strange's medical help, Sanjay pledged his loyalty to the Mad Doctor, working as a servant and right-hand man, while Strange performed illegal operations and experiments on patients he illegally obtained from Arkham Asylum. Because, of course, nobody's going to miss them. Doesn't matter.
God, it really was the 40s, wasn't it?
This was mid the 90s, Shaun, this story.
God, oh no.
Nobody's going to miss them. So he just takes these crazy people out of the Arkham Asylum, just experiments on them. Half of them die. Fuck it. Like, doesn't matter. We're just going to keep doing it until I get this right.
Bring in the next truckload.
Strange's goal was not only to make his patients physically stronger or to enhance their immunity, but to make them mentally functional with a small implant that will release the necessary stimulants. So, to further finance his experiments, Strange attended the Gotham Science Institute charity ball in order to convince a few prospective clients. Unfortunately, Strange's proposal falls on deaf ears when he is belittled by one Gotham socialite. And she's very drunk, and she starts pointing out all of Hugo's genetic flaws. So he's talking about, like, I'm going to make genetic perfection, I'm going to do this, I can do this, I just need your funding. And she's, like, really drunk, so she walks up and she's like, like, you are so far from fucking, look at you. You're like an ugly, like, she goes too far. She basically, she says something to the wrong person.
Okay, and he snaps, I'm imagining.
So, Strange had no other choice but to borrow the money once again from boss Sal Maroni, who is a local gangster and is the villain in Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, which we watched on our Patreon.
We did, if anyone wants to go over there and listen to that. But so he's borrowing from the mob currently to fund his stuff. But after leaving the ball, Strange notices that the socialite that mocked him was walking past him. And after a brief moment of anger, Strange's vindictive nature takes over. He tells Sanjay to follow the socialite and kidnap her in order to teach her a lesson about mocking his work. Sanjay uses chloroform to knock out the socialite, and he brings her to his lab. They then basically experiment on this poor woman who got drunk at a party and said the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Jesus Christ.
And what happens is they experiment on her, and then she is fed to Strange's monster men, who are all of his experiments that survive but are turned into monsters.
Oh,
who are also cannibals, Shaun.
Also cannibals because they were humans once. Correct.
And whatever remains they didn't eat was washed away into the sewers for the police to find. So, good job.
That's fucking horrendous.
So, as days went by, Strange found himself increasingly under the strain of Maroni's strict repayment demands. And Strange's experiments mutated test subjects into massive flesh-eating monster men, who were very, very powerful, is what I will say. So, once Maroni threatened Strange to repay his debt to him, the Doctor retaliated by unleashing one of the monster men on Maroni's henchmen, and basically allowing the monster man to just eat all of the henchmen as it's going along. And while this is happening, Doctor Strange has a plan that he's going to attack his henchmen, at the same time he's going to rob one of Maroni's casinos. That is currently... Right. So he's robbing from the same mob that he owes debt to.
Oh, this is definitely going to end well, isn't it?
It's going to end real well. And Strange paid off his debt to Maroni. But Maroni said something was amiss when Hugo managed to pay off his debt so quickly and in one large sum. You had no money last week, now you have $250,000. Where did that come from?
And he opens his pockets and a load of poker chips fall out.
Hang on a minute. The murder of the socialite and the recent massacre at Maroni's casino caught the attention of Batman, which makes sense.
If there's anyone you don't want to catch the attention of in Gotham.
Bruce managed to get some information from Maroni, and Bruce did some digging of his own, and he searched Strange's records, and he didn't find much except for one license plate that had one last known address on it. Batman arrives at the warehouse, according to the address, and he gets past Hugo's security systems and finds ordinary men in stasis tanks who are being prepared for experiments. So he walks out of the lab with all the people, like in the Suicide Squad, but without Starro kind of thing.
I get you.
Batman recognised some of the men because he was the one who actually sent them to Arkham in the first place. So he's like, oh shit, I arrested him last week, and now he's dead.
Well, at least I didn't kill him.
At least he has no legs. Batman broke his spine, but he's like, I didn't kill him though, did I? I don't think I did.
You're welcome.
He's he's like
just
looking for a
leaves him
high five off the corpse.
He goes to fist bump the glass.
Huh? Fist bump? Huh? No,
Huh?
not moving. Oh yeah, sorry, I actually broke your spine. I remember now. Batman got the drop on Hugo and began to interrogate him. But just as he was doing this, Sanjay runs to the doctor's aid and he uses a tranquilizer to knock out Batman. And so they knock out Batman and they throw him in the monster men's den. And it's at this point that Strange is awestruck at how Batman, a mere powerless human, shows no fear, no hesitation, and is completely efficient at defeating the creatures one by one. And at this point he thinks, holy shit, that's the perfect human. I've been searching. That's who he is.
But does that not mean that he doesn't need to do the experiments? It is possible to make that perfect human?
I suppose you're trying to put logic on a crazy man.
This is very true. Sorry, I should have known better.
After analysing the Batman's daring escape, because of course Batman gets away from the den, Strange was overly impressed by Batman's array of weapons and how Batman represents the peak of human genetic perfection, which Strange himself had been lacking for so long. So within this is a weird Venn diagram of he thinks Batman is perfect, but he also wants to be Batman. And that's where Hugo Strange kind of comes into his own weird little niche, because he doesn't want to kill Batman, but he wants to be him. He's the perfection that he wants for himself, that he can't have ever. No matter how much he works out, he can never be Bruce Wayne. So
he can't grow another foot.
No, it's just it's just the way it is. But a foot and height wise another foot, both of them, he can't do either of them.
Yeah, genetic perfection is 3 feet.
Everyone knows. And so Strange and Sanjay basically moved their operations somewhere else but they need Maroni's help again. And Strange destroys the warehouse by setting it on fire. Maroni decides that he's going to help him, but they get the idea that he sends one of his goons down called Richie Patone, and he turns up and he starts shooting all of the men who are in the tubes, basically killing them before he can turn them into monster men. And the threat is, I know you robbed my casino. If anything like that ever happens again, I'm going to kill you and everyone that you've experimented on, because you fucked with the mob boss, basically.
And you know what? The mob isn't always right, but they have a right to say that.
But you see, he pissed off the wrong person, because you forget that Doctor Strange has several cannibal animal men, monster men, on his side. And so Strange decides, well, I don't need you anymore then, Sal. I can do this on my own. And decides that his research with the monster men has reached its peak. And he performs the alterations on Sanjay's brother. Strange was amazed at how Sanjay's brother transformed in different ways, and he gained more muscle tone than everybody else. And basically, Strange and Sanjay arrive at Falcone's country estate, where Maroni is held up, and they set the monster men loose on the whole mob.
Right. Just crack open the back of the truck and the lads all run out.
Yeah, and the monster men just absolutely annihilate these mobsters. Just run through them. Now half of them die, the monster men, but a whole lot of mobsters die on the other side. And so what happens then is Sanjay witnesses... Richie, the mobster, shoots Sanjay's brother. Sanjay doesn't like this, and he grabs a gun. But he gets shot then by Maroni. And one of the monster men goes after Maroni when he tries to escape via helicopter. But Batman turns up and he apprehends Maroni. And while he's doing that, all the monster men fall off the roof into an explosion. Basically, the house explodes. Right. Because how did they write them out of a story is the question.
They all exploded at once and none survived.
So Strange explodes here and he is not seen. But the issue is that nobody ever sees the body. Strange has a very unique idea in the comic books where he's avoided death so many times people think he can't die. There was a really cool story where he finds out the identity of Batman and he's going to sell it to the mob. This is a completely separate story. I'm going to talk about another story now in a minute that's along the same lines, but this is a separate comic run, and he's going to sell it to the Joker, Two-Face, Penguin, and it's actually an episode of Batman the Animated Series as well. And just as before he's going to sell it off to the highest bidder, like, you give me $1 billion and I'll tell you who Batman is. And just before he does it, he gets beaten to death. Somebody beats him to death and he's meant to have died, and then later on it comes out that he slowed his heartbeat so much that he faked death, and then he comes back like in a different issue like a few months later like, I'm still alive. So he has a weird thing where he just constantly survives definite death for no reason.
I mean, that could be like his, secret Doctor Strange power, or it's comic books.
It's comic books, I think. And the main story with Hugo Strange, I keep calling him Doctor Strange, but Hugo Strange that I want to talk about is called Batman Prey. And I think this is probably top 20 Batman stories ever. I think this is so interesting, just as a run. Because Strange appears on a nighttime talk show, along with Commissioner Gordon and the Mayor of Gotham. And Doctor Strange is basically seen as like the expert, the mental expert. They're going to talk to him about Batman. And this is early in Batman's run, so he's still kind of, the police are against him.
Right.
And so people are all on this talk show like, who's behind the Batman? What's going on? They bring Doctor Strange in as the psychologist. And he comes in, and Strange explains that Batman's obsession with the darkness and the idea of vengeance, and Strange's deduction leads him to the conclusion that the Batman was an individual who lost someone close to him one fateful night. At this point, the Mayor becomes interested as well as impressed by Doctor Strange's psychological profile of the Batman. So he's on the talk show with him, and he's like, "Yeah, that's really interesting, Doctor. You seem very impressive, because we've been trying to catch this guy for months. You're kind of getting like,
they don't know into his head."
Into his head. So Strange's psychoanalysis of the Batman is not entirely valid. He assumes the Batman craves individual power, and has a paranoid mistrust in others, which indicates either he suffers from schizophrenia or a split personality. So he's right on some things, and he also maybe overestimates on other things. So he thinks Batman craves individual power, and he also has an idea that Batman hates the police because they didn't find the murderer of who shot whoever his loved one is.
Right, so he's assuming some things.
Yeah. And so Strange believes the Batman is only assisting the police in their investigations so he can make his arrests stick in court, but he will never join the police force officially. The supposed reason for this is Batman wants to defer the police's efforts on making arrests to him, so he will gain all of Gotham's praise. And be seen as like the best in Gotham. So he's just all about his own glory. Strange becomes Batman's latest threat when the Mayor appoints Strange as a consultant for Gordon's police task force, which was created by the Mayor to capture Batman. So the Mayor sets up a task force like, we're going to capture Batman. Commissioner Gordon's the head of it. And then he's like, Gordon, this guy impressed me. He's joining your task force as your specialist psychologist. Ask him anything. He's gonna criminal minds us to Batman.
Yeah, he's gonna help us catch this guy.
Yeah, and ironically, Gordon is on that team, even though he definitely doesn't want to capture Batman, because he's doing good, but what can you do?
Yeah, that's Jim Gordon though, like he's doing things he doesn't want to do.
And what's so interesting about this story is that Bruce is, of course, hearing all this, and instead of this, he's a younger Bruce. And so instead of being like, no, he's wrong, Bruce begins to question and doubt the reasons he became the Caped Crusader in the first place. It's like, holy shit, maybe I am right, maybe he is right. But Alfred puts Bruce's misconceptions to rest by reassuring him that the innocent people of Gotham deserve a hero like the Batman, even though some people won't admit that they need him. So he's so convincing, he convinces Batman that maybe there's some truth to this.
Maybe, yeah, but and also he's introduced as the psychiatrist, the specialist in the human mind and all this, and a younger Batman probably would take his advice.
Yeah, and so the next day, Strange and the mayor discuss the terms of his involvement with Gordon's task force, and he basically he anticipates Gordon's reluctance to help him in catching the Batman. So he asked the mayor, "Could you give me full access to the police files for Batman's tactics, his methods, any data you have? Because I think Gordon's going to try and work against us, Mayor. Like, me and you, we're in this together. He's going to try and work
we both want to find the Batman.
Like, I really want to find him to stop him. Not because I love him, but, like, he's just... Like, Gordon's going to try and put a stop to that. So you write me like a note, says I get full access to all the police files. That would be great.
Okay. And does he?
Of course. The mayor's like, that's a great idea, Doctor. Yeah. Oh, how I didn't
trust
think
you
of that.
Completely.
Yeah, I was on a talk show with you once. That Gordon guy's a dickhead. So, and I think also politically it's good for the mayor to be against Batman because it's still early in his run. And I think it's still seen as a strong political stance to be like anti-Batman at this point. So Strange discusses his enthusiasm for taking the opportunity to increase his television ratings and to further his understanding of who the Batman really is. Now, Strange's only other reason for accepting the role in Gordon's task force is because he will have a chance to get rid of the Batman and take over as Batman. He wants to take over as Gotham's Batman.
Right. So...
as the new hero within Gotham.
I mean, if... It's such a weird motivation given everything we know so far.
So he's going to try and convince Gordon that Batman is fucked. Like, this guy's a bad dude. But within that, he's going to gain Gordon's trust so that when he proclaims himself as the new vigilante of Batman after this Batman is gone, Gordon will be like, no, this guy's good. He helped us stop the last guy.
Fuck.
Because he knows if he can get Gordon's trust, he'll be set.
He'll be fine, yeah.
And so he basically wants to use Gordon's trust to use the police force as his personal enforcers when he becomes the vigilante of the city. Like, multiple times he dresses up as Batman in the comic books.
Really?
Because he puts on the Batsuit.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah, according to Strange, the Batman supposedly has nothing but disdain for any authority except his own. And he basically implies that Batman hates Gotham PD. So he's constantly telling Gordon he hates you. Like, he
doesn't
not like me.
Cops.
I love you, but he hates you. I'm just letting you know.
He thinks he's better than you.
With this expert knowledge within the fields of behaviour psychology, it didn't take Strange long to finally realise that the Batman and Bruce Wayne were the same. And were the same people.
He's figured it out.
He figures it out. And that the head of the police task force would serve as a key member within Strange's plan to rid the Batman once and for all. Hiding this knowledge away from Gordon, the mayor and the task force, his first part of the plan was he actually brainwashes the leader of the task force to be like, Batman's a fuck... Like, once again, he's just like, Batman is a bad guy. But he's psychologically just like brainwashing the head of the task force constantly, being like, Batman's bad, I'm good. Batman's bad, I'm good. Like, one of those where when it comes to it, the head of the police force is like, Batman's a fucking dickhead. Yeah, Strange is the only one I'm going to trust.
He like talks him into making him say it, basically.
And he actually he fucks with his mind so much that the head of the task force, he convinces him to go and do his own dirty work for him. And through some weird fucking logic, he's like, we need to kidnap the mayor's daughter, right?
Oh.
And frame Batman for it. So he wants to. So he dresses up the guy, the head of the police task force, in a Batman suit. So I want you to kidnap the mayor's daughter. Everyone's going to think of as Batman, and then me and you come out looking real good when we catch Batman because he kidnapped the mayor's daughter. Which makes sense. So, as Hugo Strange successfully managed to frame the Batman, have all the law enforcement within Gotham City after the hero, with orders from the mayor to shoot to kill, because of course the mayor's daughter has been kidnapped now. So he's like, shoot to kill Batman.
Yeah,
he's a dickhead.
Don't pull any punches, lads.
This plan of action forced Batman into hiding, and to have Strange successfully fulfill his goals as taking over as the new Batman for a short period. Because the Batman can't come out. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
His plan actually backfired eventually, as he was caught by both Batman and Commissioner Gordon. Caught out in his lies, eventually. And he was accidentally shot into the river while he was disguised as the Batman. As Batman found himself cleared of all charges due to the fact that he managed to save the mayor's daughter, there was the notion that Strange's body was never found and that there was no possible verification of his death. So once again, he was shot into a river, but nobody ever found him.
So, fuck. That's an odd thing to keep happening to this man.
Yeah, he just keeps getting away. Just like nearly dying and then surviving.
So is he just then... Yeah, like he's just a mad scientist. Like he's a psychologist, and he's a psychologist. A scientist. He'll do experiments and stuff. But does he have has he given himself super resilience or super strength or anything like that?
Nothing. Like that's the whole part of him, that he is genetically inferior, but he's constantly trying to better himself. So he's an expert gymnastic and martial arts. He's like peak human condition, but he's peak human condition for him rather than peak human condition. So he's the best version of him that he can be, but he realizes that he'll never be perfect to what he strives to be perfect.
Yeah, he'll never be Bruce Wayne's perfection. Now that's fucked.
They did a tie-in series with the Batman, the animated series. This might surprise you, but the animated series did very cool things with Doctor Strange, gave him a really cool backstory. They added new depth and tragedy, which they were always definitely to do. Strange was revealed to have had a son, David Strange, who was murdered by mobsters. And what happened was there's another story called The Secret of Bruce Wayne, where he invented a machine that would wipe away memories with the hope that he could forget that David ever existed because he was still in grief over his son dying. However, after testing the machine on himself, Strange's memories became so mixed up that he forgot he actually made the machine and proceeded to make it over and over again until he could do nothing but relive his son's death on an endless loop. Isn't that fucked?
That's entirely fucked. How dare the animated series make me feel bad for a villain?
So good. And the last story I wanted to talk about, I know we've got over 30 minutes, but this is a character that, by the way, I left out so many cool stories of him.
Yeah, if he's been around from the start, I imagine he's just had everything happen to him. And
every story that he's involved in is psychologically different. Like, he's not punching Batman to death. It's all psychological stuff.
Yeah. There's
an episode of The Batman, the 2004 animated series, that really always stands out to me. And it's called Strange New World. And it's like a really weird episode. I think it's like season 4, season 5. But what happens is you get dropped in, and Batman and Robin and Batgirl are the only ones left. And everybody's a zombie, right? Or everybody appears to be a zombie. And they're like, holy shit, everyone's like being turned into zombies. This is fucked. And so they go to Doctor Strange, and he says, oh, I have an antidote for that. And he accidentally drops it outside the door. And when it explodes, there's a whole thing where they're like, he's the only one that has the antidote for this. And Bruce is just like, he has the antidote. So he goes to get him. He leads him somewhere else, and throughout it, Batgirl gets taken. She gets turned into a zombie, and then it becomes a case of you have Robin and Batman, and they're the only two people left, and they're testing the air outside, and the Batmobile's the air's fine. I don't understand. It says the air is clear, and then they capture Commissioner Gordon's a zombie to take his hair, and Batman's in the cave he's like, this hair looks perfectly fine. There's nothing on it. It doesn't make any sense. And the two of them are just so confused. And then eventually they get overrun, and Robin gets taken, and he gets turned into a zombie. And Batman's the only person left. And he's I think it's said that he's been awake straight for a whole week, fighting these zombies. And he's he's got the stubble, and he's just so tired. And he eventually comes up with this formula for the antidote thanks to Hugo Strange. And he's like, okay, this is going to help everyone. So he puts all the bombs at all the buildings, and the zombies are still crawling up the roof, like trying to get to him, and he's like fighting off zombie Batman, zombie Robin and zombie Batgirl, like Commissioner Gordon and everything, and he's like one button away from about to press the button to release the antidote, and then you find out that it's actually the other way around, and the reveal is that he's the one that has been infected, and everybody else
is trying to stop him.
Is trying to stop him because Strange has given him the vial for the fear gas. So what he thought was the antidote was he was actually going to release the gas that was going to turn everybody into just trembling, like they were all going to be terrified. So everyone who had been taken so far had actually been given the antidote rather than turned into a zombie. And so he's the only one left. Isn't that such a cool idea for a story? Like, he's literally like one button, he's literally hovering over the button and he's about to press it, and then he starts thinking, Jesus, Strange made this really easy to get this antidote. Like, why would he do that? And he starts replaying it all in his head. And then there's a bit at the start where he says to Robin, like, oh, Strange is going to fuck with your mind. Better watch out for that. Don't let him fuck with your mind. And the zombie Robin says something like, I think he says mind, like mess mind, but he's like groaning it.
Growling,
like,
yeah.
That's a weird thing for a zombie to growl. And so he's like putting it all together in his brain, and he's like, holy shit, I'm the one infected. Everybody else isn't infected. Yeah, that's one of my favourite Strange stories. That's just really because cool. It's a unique story that I don't think a lot of animated shows would have tried, because it's only the reveal at the very, very end. Just when you think, oh, Batman's about to win, and you're like, oh shit, he was going to lose.
Yeah, he's going to lose hard.
So he starts the episode already lost. Like, Strange already has the upper hand. He's infected him.
Yeah, and I like that like everyone who's been fighting him the whole episode was actually trying to save him.
Yeah, so you have Commissioner Gordon, Batgirl and Robin like chasing after him, but they're trying to like hold him down so they can inject him in with the antidote, so he'll just calm down, but they can't get a hold of him because he's
Batman.
Fucking Batman. He's Batman. But yeah, so that is Dr. Hugo Strange. His abilities are, of course, genius level intellect. He's a genius with anything to do with that: tactical analysis, psychology, any sort of medicine. His weaknesses are, of course, mental illness, obsession, and genetic limitation. So he can never ever, no matter how much he wants to be Batman and tries to kill Batman so he can be the new vigilante and be the peak of human genetics, he can never, he's always limited by his genetics, is what he always says, no matter how much he tries.
Yeah. But like, if he stopped trying to be Batman and just was the best good Doctor Strange, he could do
be the best yourself.
Yeah, he could probably cure cancer or something. That's all I'm saying.
But he's just putting all of his time and effort in the wrong areas.
Look, everyone needs a hobby, I suppose. That's wild. Because I just know him as like, he was the creepy guy at the start of Arkham City. But that's a lot of backstory. He's
really, really psychologically like Scarecrow. He's very similar to Scarecrow, but he's probably another level in that he doesn't just rely on fear gas. Like, it's psychologically, he's just going to try and fuck with you. And also, in every interaction you have, he's able to just pick out flaws and just like, he notices things in what you say about anything, and he'll just use that for his advantage later on.
Yeah. And it's not like fear gas even. It's just like, no, it's the regular mind. He just knows how to manipulate it.
Yeah, exactly, because he's smarter than everybody.
Very good.
He deduced that Bruce Wayne was Batman. I think him and Tim Drake are the only two I can think of that have done that. I'm probably missing quite a few.
In Batman the Brave and the Bold, there was a robot that did it once.
Okay, humans. I'm going to rely on humans only.
Fair.
Do you want to take us out, Chad?
Yes, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday with Movie Mondays, Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, and next Sunday, why not, with another episode of Hero or Zero.
Only 40 hours until Monday. No, 24 hours.
What if we did just Friday, but like 4 weeks from now? That's when we'll do it.
Yeah, just release it eventually.
Eventually it'll get there. And thank you to everyone who supports us over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Link to that in the description. Also below is the merch store, the Twitter @Heroes for Hire pod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Heroes for Hire podcast or Detective Diddleman's discussion group. The Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast, or you can email us heroesforhire_@outlook.com. We do always appreciate a like and a follow on any podcast platform that you're listening on. It helps to, put us into the algorithm a little bit further. And the most important way you can ever help the show, just tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, for God's sake.
For God's sake, he's going to melt our minds if you tell more than one. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think I will forgive you if you tell 2, but 3, and I might cry? Is cry a threat?
Yeah, he threatens it every week, and it's hilarious, guys.
Yeah. It's a real it's a funny cry. I want to know that scrunches the face.
Yeah, he's like a sad clown. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I've been Ciara Lawler.
I've been Shaun.
And we'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.